So, illness to wellness. Most people think illness is essentially the presence of a pathology or a dysfunction. And I want to shift that away to illness is essentially a lack of wellness. And wellness is an expression of vitality, of a willingness to be with a higher quality of life and to really enjoy the richness and fullness of life. Free of inhibitions. And whenever there is something that blocks your vitality, that is essentially illness, right? So a good way to think about it, and I was talking with a practice member earlier this morning about this, when she asked the question, she said, on the way in, I was feeling really good, and I was thinking, do I really need this extra entrainment this week? And so my response was essentially what I want to share with you, is related to essentially what makes Network Spinal Care so unique and different, is that the first thing we do is help to restore the ability for the body to really recognize and connect to and really regulate, move from a dysregulated nervous system to a regulated nervous system. All of that is really just in the beginning phases of care. And then we move from there, and essentially we go, what we say, beyond wellness. So think about it this way. Imagine you have what you consider to be not ill or not sick or doing fine, doing great. That's usually what people say, right? They say, how you doing? Oh, I'm fine, I'm doing all right. You can think of that as like status quo, like you're kind of moving along. Some days a little better, some days a little worse, but for the most part, you hover around this relative level of what you consider to be your quality of health, feel all right, feel fine, right? And then what happens at some point, for everybody at some point, is you drop down to essentially the bottom where you feel ill or sick. And maybe it's just a passing virus, or maybe something really major is going on in your life. And so that's what we call sick. That's what we call being in poor health or in need of some sort of intervention to restore our ability to live the quality of life that we're here to live, right? And so then the path from the bottom all the way up back to that line of status quo, that's what we tend to call healing. That's what most people refer to as the path of healing. And then you get back to, well, I feel fine, I feel well, right? And the truth is, and here's the amazing part, is that the same things that take us from the bottom back up to that line of feeling good is the same things that continue. It just keeps on going up and up and up. So the parts of our body that help us recover can actually become better, stronger, more resilient. And so what does that mean? Well, that means that essentially our bar is raised. Well, if you raise a bar, you get to do more. And if you've got a bar that's raised and you don't do more and you don't care, then who cares? But most people think, well, I would like more energy, and I would like more joy, and I would like to feel better, and I would like to have more freedom in my body, and I would like to be able to eat the foods that I want to eat. And so there's always that room. And that is what we have with Beyond Wellness. And that comes from an integrated and fully functional nervous system. So let me take you through the path of Network Spinal Care. All right. So when we have someone that first comes in, the first thing that we are working on, unless they already have this on lock, because we do have people that come to us that are feeling amazing and want to feel more amazing. We have a lot of people that come that are high performers. We have a lot of people that come in that are, like nervous system hackers and really into nootropics and really want to see what the full potential is of their wellness and well-being. I mean, they are on that journey. And Network Spinal Care is usually what they come across, whether it's from hearing from me or they hear from some other person out there like Tony Robbins, who's huge on Network Spinal Care, as well as a lot of other top performers in the world. And so when somebody comes in, if they're not that, and they have a dysregulated nervous system. And their nervous system, what that means really is that their nervous system is in a state of complete overwhelm. And we need to get the nervous system to a point where it is able to feel safe enough to let go of a lot of these defense physiological loops. See, the thing about that is that they are learned from stress trauma. And what stress trauma is when your nervous system is basically not able to keep up with the amount of input that's coming in, and it feels overwhelmed and starts to lock down, okay? And we could lock down physically, mentally, emotionally, chemically. And so somehow that stress trauma is in there, and what ends up happening when our body is stuck in that way and doesn't know how to release it because we have disconnected from it, we get into these loops. And so essentially our physiology, or parts of our physiology, is playing out the scenario as if that initial threat of that moment is still going on. And that's what it means to have a dysregulated nervous system. It's when your nervous system is consistently playing those loops, and what ends up happening is, well, unfortunately, anything you do over and over and over again gets locked in. You get really good at it, right? So if you play the piano over and over again, you get really good at moving those fingers, right? And doing that hand, eye, ear, heart coordination. Well, the thing is that if you keep living your life in defense physiology, well, that's how you learn how to live life. And so when somebody comes in, we move them from that place, we get their system to recognize it's safe and start to let go of that defense physiology. And what that does is it helps the body to better regulate and process what's happening. And when that happens, then we get closer to that line of wellness, of feeling fine, right? But what's the beautiful thing is that we've established a language and a communication with the nervous system that the nervous system is now recognizing. It's like, oh, these contacts, there's more there. And so the person on the table starts to realize, as we stimulate different layers of the brain through those contact points, that they can bring in more energy and more of the emotions that are associated with higher states of wellness. Because all of the emotions that are associated with not feeling well, or feeling stuck, or feeling limited, or having anxiety and not being able to be yourself, or not have the energy to do things you love, all of those emotions are integrated really well when we help the system to regulate. Now you've got a lot of more safety in the system. Well, when you feel safe and you're ready to explore life on a grander level, and those issues are not affecting you anymore, there's a whole other spectrum of emotions, and we can do the same thing with those. So Network Spinal Care, or really just body work in general, does not have to be about getting from dysregulated to regulated, or ill to well. It can be about expanding your capacity to experience joy, to experience excitement, to experience thrill, to experience more perspectives in your brain at once. Because here's the thing, when you are in defense physiology, your lower brain takes over and it inhibits the upper brain, it inhibits the frontal lobe. So when that area is inhibited, it's not developing. And now when you move beyond that, and all of this area is starting to open up, the lower parts of the brain are opening up, you can actually recruit and use the higher parts of the brain. And Network Spinal Care, the top, level 2 and level 3 are all developed, is really based on when we get above that status quo line that we talked about in the beginning. It's beyond wellness. So 2/3 of this care is beyond wellness. So when that practice member asks me, like, should I come in if I feel good? Yes, this is when it really starts to get fun. This is when we really start to tap into the things that life is really all about, the juicy stuff, the parts of us that are extraordinary and beautiful and wonderful. Because I don't know about you, but I do not believe that we are here to survive. I believe we are here to create. We are here to love. We are here to experience. We are here to feel joy and to celebrate the gift of life. And all of that is beyond wellness. And we can get better at that. And we can build our nervous system to get better and be better and experience more of that. And the more you experience it, the more you develop it. So we start to get into a different kind of loop. Remember I talked about that defense physiological loop? How about a loop of life celebration and extraordinary wellness? That's what I'm all about. That's why I do what I do. That's why I care so much. And that's why I received Network Spinal Care and devoted my path to delivering Network Spinal Care to everyone else. So that's what it's all about. That's Beyond Wellness, and I hope that's really inspiring to you. And if you'd like to know any more, come on in. We do complimentary consultations just to make sure that we're in alignment and we should work together.